Howdy tubes, welcome back to the Zach Life. So I'm kind of back in the motorhome here. This is actually the day after Thanksgiving. Hope y'all had a good Thanksgiving, but I realize this video is probably not going to come out for quite a number of weeks because I've got the trailer project. But anyway, I'm going to get back in this thing. We're going to start trying to knock this thing out and get to the point we can use it. The things I want to try to get done maybe in this video, I don't know, I never know really where it'll end up, but I'd like to work on my lattice type thing I'm going to do on the ceiling I talked about before. I'm going to do like an X pattern. Give you an idea of what's going on. So, you know, this is the bathroom wall. We're going to put a cabinet right down here. I can't move the camera down with one hand. I want to have cabinets that run all along the top that are thin. And then you know, that'll be all the cabinets. The cabinets will all be on this side. I think that I'm going to wallpaper the walls. I don't know exactly. A lot of things up in the air. What I'm fixing to start is I'm going to start doing a lattice work thing on the ceiling so that I can glue the wood, the trim directly to the wood. And then I want to try to get that done. All the sheetrock, mud stuff put on, and then primer all this thing. At that point I can sort of start working on cabinets and stuff. But I want to get that done prior to trying to build anything else in here, get it all primered. Anyway, let's do it. Hope I'm not disorienting you too badly by moving you around. I've had a little bit of a design change. I had planned on running cabinets down, so right there is where the sink's going to be. You know, on all the cabinets, countertop here. I had planned on running upper cabinets all the way to the front of the coach on this side. And what I was going to do is take the board or the piece of trim. It would have been here and moving it to here, and it would be sort of part of the front of the cabinets. I think what I'm going to do, I've changed my mind. I'm going to only run the cabinets down to right past this joint. In fact, we'll just call that our end, where the cabinets are going to end. I'm going to bring the cabinets along the top and then down to about this high, somewhere here, I don't know exactly. And then the countertop is going to be down here. These cabinets are going to be relatively shallow, probably 10 or 12 inches or something. And this will give me another big piece of cabinet here, and I'm going to end the cabinet and the countertop all together, and the countertop is going to come up here. Anyway, I'm going to run the board along the outside and bring these boards into here, and then on down this way I'm going to build a shelf. It's not going to be a cabinet, so to speak, at all. It's just going to be a shelf. I had planned on putting, I don't watch TV, I've got no need to have a television, but I had put a plug up there to be able to put a TV right above the hole there on the front of the walk-through hole, and then to put a stereo receiver or whatever else I needed right here. And so I think I'm going to make this a shelf that's the same distance off the ceiling as the bottom of the cabinets. The cabinets don't come here, it's going to change to a shelf, and you'll be able to throw stuff up there like, you know, whatever you need. Obviously the radio receiver at the front, but you know, you could throw whatever else you wanted to in there. And anyway, so what I'm going to do is bring this board down and then come out and then down along the front of the cabinets like I'd planned. Well, I got this as finished as it's going to get for right now. It's not perfect. You know, you nitpick through it. There's definitely a few things that aren't exactly right, but it's good enough. I absolutely love the way it looks, especially I think it's going to look sweet when it's painted. I got this done, you know, like I was explaining. I was going to have cabinets that come down here, and they're going to be right on the inside of this. As far as up here in this little spot, I didn't finish this because this cabinet's going to come along here and out to take the you know, the convection microwave oven that's going to be put there. And I don't know what size that's going to be or anything. I sort of terminated this whole pattern right here into the air conditioner. You know, this is kind of goofy how it all comes into this air conditioner. I don't know how to make this look really good. It's just sort of how it is, and it's how it's going to be. But you know, whatever. I wasn't really sure what to do with this. Anyway, terminated this. I went ahead, keep them shaking around too much here, and ran the trim along here. This comes back around. La-ti-da. Ends right here. This will have to be finished once this cabinet's built. Anyway, that's about the size of it. We've been putting sheetrock mud. Let me switch cameras here. So as I was finishing up the lattice work in here, I started putting mud on the screws and the plywood. Sheetrock mud on the plywood screws. Screws in the plywood, whatever. I have decided, I think, that I'm going to put a wallpaper on these outside walls and the front wall. I'm going to paint the back there sort of like the bedroom or whatever. They make some really good high-end textured wallpaper I like. It's a little bit flexible. It's kind of stretchy, it almost seems like. Anyway, my point of rambling about this is I decided I'm not going to tape the seams in the plywood. In the bedroom, when it gets cold and the coat shrinks and it compresses that tape, it makes the tape sort of have a bump in it, and it's cracked the paint in a few places. It's pretty noticeable. Luckily, in the bedroom, there's very few seams you can see. You've got to kind of know where to look. But anyway, I'm thinking I'm just going to take the sheetrock mud and mud these seams, and then use the mud as like a leveling compound to take up the difference in the height of the plywood, or the, you know, how far it is off the wall. You know, it's just maybe 30 seconds or something, but you'll be able to see it if you put wallpaper over it. Anyway, that's what I'm going to do. I'm not going to tape it. If this becomes a disaster, this won't be that big a deal later on to pull the wallpaper off, tape and bed all this stuff, and then paint it, you know, years down the road. That won't be a huge problem. That's one of the reasons I'm not so worried about it. I want to get the windows in it. I want to get it primed. I think what I am fixing to do is I'm going to cut out the holes in the plywood for the windows while I'm waiting on the sheetrock mud to dry, because it takes about 3 days to get 3 coats of sheetrock mud on these things. And anyway, that'll give me something to do in the meanwhile. Take 2. I keep getting tongue-tied. If you remember, the corners of these windows are radiused, and I have cut out these little pieces of wood that'll go in the corners up here, and I'm going to put some glue on these and pop some pins in them, and then go back around it with a router to router the corners. So I'm kind of drawing straws about what to do with the rest of this video and what to do next, at least for the next video, I should say. So I spent the last couple of days putting sheetrock mud up. I got all that sanded down. We filled about 10,000 holes with wood putty, I think, on the trim on the ceiling. the next thing I'm going to do, the next step in the completion of this coach is to paint everything in here. I think what I'm going to do is the rest of this video, I'm going to basically spend to get this thing ready to paint. I got a bunch of masking off to do. I got to pull the lights out of it. I got to pull the air conditioner grill things off the ceiling. I'm going to pull both doors, the bathroom and the bedroom doors off, to tape off the bathroom and the bedroom, and then the doors both need painted. They're going to be painted a little bit darker gray, a light gray, but darker than the you know, like the bathroom and the between the squares the ceiling's going to be. But anyway, I'd like to spend the rest of this video getting this thing ready to go. We also spent the last half of this day. You probably had never saw it, but that cabinet there was completely full of junk. It had a Home Depot worth of screws and nuts and tools and fasteners and hinges and all kinds of weird stuff. There's not a lot of room to keep a bunch of junk in here. Anyway, we went through all that stuff. We're kind of to a point where we're finished with a lot of things. There's a lot of tools that we no longer need. You know, most of the woodworking stuff is done except the cabinets. Of course, I had to keep some of that. And anyway, we went through and kind of hauled everything out of here that we didn't think we'd need again back into my shop. So anyway, I want to spend the rest of this video, I think it's the third time I've said this, getting this thing ready to paint. And then I'm going to spray everything, soak everything down with a white primer. And then I'm going to spray everything that's going to be that really bright white, all the trim, basically all the trim, the cabinets, and the trim around the doors and stuff. And at that point, we'll pop up on the next video, and it'll all be painted. I don't want to get my camera in here. It's kind of a pain. You get paint all over everything, and I'm not going to show that. So when the next video pops up, we'll have all this thing primered and painted, and then we'll go on to, you know, at that point we'll probably put the windows in it. Of course, like I say, this all going to be wallpapered. I'm going to wait till the very end to wallpaper it because I'll get it dirty. I like to paint the squares in the between the trim and the ceiling. And I think I'll probably take the cabinets and just paint the inside of the cabinets with a roller and that white primer. It looks good enough for the inside of the cabinets, and then we might put some contact paper or something on the bottom or whatever. But anyway, for the fourth time now, I'm going to spend the rest of this video getting this thing ready to paint. I'd like to take you back here and show you control panel, how it works, and other than that, we'll probably talk about the control panel, have a time lapse, and then we'll have to catch you on the next one. So here is a 41-second time lapse of me putting all the switches and the control panel face on the control panel or whatever here. I thought this was kind of neat. You can sort of watch all the wires get chopped off and the switches be put on and put in the control panel. But anyway, this was like 5 hours real time of me actually messing with it. It went over a full day. Of course, I didn't work 5 solid hours on it, but it took absolutely forever to crimp all those wires and figure out which wire was what. Even though I got a wiring diagram. Anyway, thought it's kind of neat, and thought y'all might want to waste a few seconds of your life on it. All right, see if you can spot my mistake here. So dummy me, somehow or another, I put fresh water twice, or I was supposed to be fresh water gray and black, and for some reason I put fresh water there instead of black water, and I can't gripe about the people that made it because this was my mistake. Anyway, down here, these don't work, and I think that this gauge is the wrong resistance for the meter, for the sensors. I'll have to look into that. I'm sure that's an easy fix. But this will tell you fresh water, diesel fuel, gray water, black water, and this gauge. I think I'd probably get a Stewart Warner gauge that doesn't say fuel, and that's what we need. Here's the air pressure of the generator. This is a battery monitor. We'll come back to this. This is a generator up here, water temp, oil pressure, hour meter, start stop. These right here control this little voltage, frequency, current meter thing. I've got two switches here. The switches between L1 and L2 for the current, and L1 and L2 for the voltage. This meter for some reason reads 0 anytime you're under 5 amps. I'm not sure why that is. If you're 5.5 amps, it has a resolution of 1/10 of an amp. but it will not read a current less than 5 amps for whatever reason. Anyway, it's got another setting here, neutral ground voltage. You can switch this to neutral ground, voltage between neutral and ground when you plug in at RV park. If there's a line to neutral reversal, you then will have a neutral to ground voltage potential. And I wanted to hook this up to have, so when you go plug in the RV park, you just, you know, click, click, make sure it goes 0, and then you know you don't have a reversal of your input current. So here we've got a power inverter, short power generator, load shed. I guess you can read them. There's no use in reading them off. This will turn the power inverter off and on. The wires are ran to the inverter, but the inverter requires a special plug that I do not have yet to actually plug into it. Shore power, these are sort of layered, if you would, in their priority. And so you have generator power that will trump shore power, that will trump power inverter. And so if you have these all to auto, generator or shore power, you know, it'll run off, you know, generator if it's running. If the generator's not running, it'll run off shore power. If you don't have shore power, it runs off power inverter. But it gives you the ability, if you are plugged in like we are now, and you want to go to you want to turn off shore power, you simply flip that switch. I don't know if you caught the shimmer in the lights, but it flipped from shore power to the inverter. We'll go back to shore power, and then we can turn generator back to auto. If the generator was in gen mode, it would run off it. Load shed, if you remember we talked about this. This is the turns the front air conditioner off if the back air conditioner is on. If there is more than a 50 amp load on L1, or you can flip it from auto to on, and this will only let one air conditioner run at a time, which is kind of handy if you're trying to run off a 15 amp circuit or something like that, or whatever. Of course, a water heater, pretty self-explanatory. Water pump. Tank defrost is the heat strip that runs under the floor where there's any kind of exposed plumbing. A heating pad that's underneath the gray tank, and a heat strip that kind of wraps around the valve of the black and gray tank. 24 volt chargers. These are the chargers that will charge the battery bank. I've only got one charger right now, and it's this one. This one just basically dead ends at a plug, but I'm going to buy one. I'll have two. I've got, you notice this has an on, which basically turns it on. Middle will be off. You flip it down, it's got an auxiliary. It's actually got an additional cord ran, or another wire ran through the SO cord that goes to the truck, and there's actually a plug on the front of the truck. If you wanted to plug in a small, like a Harbor Freight, you know, suitcase generator, you could plug it in at the front of the truck and not have to drag the big cord out and lock it up there, and it'd sort of be away and silent, and that'll keep your batteries topped off. It's sort of like a gasoline powered solar panel. Anyway, the truck charger is a marine charger in the battery box. It keeps the batteries hot. The air step is up or down. The step is pneumatically powered. And the air suspension, this will let you raise the air suspension either up or down if you need to level up the coach. We've got a battery monitor down here. This tells us right now we're pulling 3 amps out of our battery. If we actually turn off shore power, this will go up because we're now running off batteries. It goes up to 7.2 amps. 26 volts. Steady charge 100%. The heater just came on in the back. See, now we're up to 8.7 amps AC and 49 amps in our battery. That's the electric heater running in the back. So we'll crank the generator up. You'll see our air pressure rise. It almost died. Air pressure rise. We've got a back pressure regulator above about 60 or 70 pounds. It starts dumping all the extra air it's making into the truck system to air it up or do whatever we need to do. Oil pressure is above 100 pounds. That's about it. We'll take it on up to gen mode. actually running on the generator power. 58.9 hertz, 59 hertz. That'll come up slightly after the generator builds some heat in it. Take the generator back to battery charge mode. And of course the auto switch took it from gen power to turned it off, turned the generator off. We'll turn shore power off. Back on shore power. Shut the generator down. That's about the size of it. So I guess I'm gonna call that. I've got to put some trim up. Hang on. Can't deal with you not being level. I gotta put some trim up around the door. I'm getting better at this. Of the bedroom and the bathroom. Less that, this thing's ready to paint. And so basically what I'm gonna do next, over the next few days, is put that trim up, soak this thing down with white primer, and then spray all the bright white, and then come back, and it'll be the next video, and we'll put the windows in it. I'm about to get dusted. I don't know if it looks as dusty in the camera as it actually is in here. I was doing that with my sander, that little bit of sheetrock dust on the ceiling for like, what, 30 seconds? And I can't breathe, so I'm gonna call this video. Appreciate you watching. Like, share, subscribe, all the good things, and I'll catch you on the next one. Toodles.